Business today here on KTN News. My name is Peter Akaba, and this is your 1 hour of news, views, and indeed analysis from right across this country, from right across the continent, and from right around the world. Today we have a packed show for you yet again, bringing you news and analysis of events that are happening in business right across this country, and indeed the fact that Kenya is currently hosting the TICAD 6 conference, the first time it has been held on African soil, and that right there being a milestone. Kenya writing itself in the history books. In terms of discussing that and bringing out the context of that further, we will later on have in studio two guests. One is Mr. Mike Rabahi. He is the CEO of Homeboys. He will be here to talk to us on exactly how Kenyan and indeed African businesses are taking advantage of these conferences. Conference tourism right there hitting its high in Kenya. We'll also have Mr. Kevin Murithi. He is the CEO of Urithi Sacco, a Kenyan company that has over 18,000 members in 11 different counties, providing solutions in terms of housing. How can that sector take advantage of technology in terms of technology exchange with Japan? That much and more over the next 1 hour. Now to the news of the day, where Bamburi Cement Limited has today announced its 2016 half-year financial performance. The group posted a profit of some 2.3 billion shillings. Group turnover for the period under review, however, dropped to 19.1 billion shillings from a previous of 19.3 billion shillings. Bamburi paid out taxes of 2 billion shillings, up from 1.2 billion paid in the prior half year. This decrease is attributed to slowed construction activity, mainly in the individual home builder segment in Kenya, which was affected by the higher level of interest rates experienced in the last half of the year 2015, together with the slight reduction in exports to inland African markets. The board also announced the approval of phase 1 of a capacity expansion project in both Kenya and Uganda, which will increase cement capacity by some 1.7 million tons at an approximate cost of 8.3 billion shillings. The board further stated that the group is in advanced studies on embarking on phase 2 of its expansion. And moving on, listed publisher Longhorn has partnered with the County of Meru to support early childhood development and education and youth polytechnics in the region as a continuation of the publisher's product diversification strategy. Under the partnership, 1,900 ECDE teachers and caretakers have been trained, along with 100 managers and 400 instructors from local polytechnics. The move raises the quality of education both in terms of resourcing and delivery from an early age. The Meru County government has also absorbed all public ECD caregivers into its permanent and pensionable scheme in order to restore dignity to the handlers of our young ones, and hope that intervention will help improve the lives of caregivers, since they will now have a paid slip and access to financial products and services. Longhorn Publishers has facilitated the review of the Meru County Social Studies book for Standard 4 pupils.
You are going to have a salary, you are going to have your hardship allowance, you are going to have your house allowance, and you are also going to have your medical insurance. So the era of discrimination of ECD teachers is over.
The Meru County government right there with goodies for ECDE teachers and managers, and also, of course, the personnel in polytechnics in that region. Now, the Kenya Seed Company has assured farmers in the maize-growing areas that their seeds are safe for the next planting season. This follows allegations that head smut disease, which has been noticed in parts of the North Rift, has spread through those seeds. After the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture toured seed farms on a fact-finding mission, it established that the head smut is a fungal disease spread through soil and that there is no case in Trans Nzoia. Kenya Seed Company Managing Director Azaria Sawyer affirmed that head smut disease has only affected a few acres in Nandi, whilst in Gishu and Marakwet counties. He advised farmers whose plants are affected to uproot the affected plants and burn them to get rid of the disease, and also practice crop rotation. Farmers were further cautioned not to feed livestock with the affected plants because it can be spread through cow dung.
We have two lines that have tassels. These are, we have removed the male part. So we only remain with the female part of the plant, which is the cob. And these are the silks where we do which carries out pollination grains. So this was a very good crop because of the pollination. You can see the grains have filled nicely.
A number of women groups from Bungoma paralyzed operations at the offices of an international construction company, demanding their pay of 10 million shillings that has been overdue for 2 years now. The women accused the management of H. Young Company, allegedly an Israeli company tasked with building the Webuye-Malaba highway, for delaying their pay, despite having completed the agreed work of planting indigenous trees as well as grass along the highway 2 years ago. The company's project manager was on the receiving end but could not do much, claiming the decisions for the company squarely lie in the hands of another senior person back in Israel. Not even the administration police from Kandui AP post could calm down these angry women who claim they have been deprived of what belongs to them for far too long.
Tumejaribu kutafuta njia zote ili tuweze kulipwa pesa yetu. Wamekataa. It is now wanasema ya kwamba management yenye ilikuwa hapa colluded. Wanasema women should be empowered. Lakini hakuna kitu, tunafanya kazi na pesa hatulipi. Tutakuwa empowered namna gani? Gavana yetu kupata ni ngumu. Tumeenda kwake, atufiki, atusaidie. Atatusaidia wakati kura iko ama saa hii. Tunataka tumuone akuje atusaidie. Tumeenda paka kwa county commissioner.
Now, Lamu leaders have requested for more time to go through the environmental impact assessment report on the proposed 2014 billion shilling Lamu coal power project. Addressing residents of Pate Island, Lamu women representative Shakila Abdallah said that a period of 3 months or more was appropriate for residents to be taken through the 1,800-page report and make an informed decision. Tourism and fisheries will all be wiped out by the project, she said, adding that the whole of the Lamu ecosystem will be affected, including the mangrove forests. According to Lamu Governor Isa Timami, the county government was still studying the IEA report and are yet to endorse the project. The establishment of the coal-fired power plant had previously been given a lifeline after the National Land Commission, NLC, granted Lamu Power, the company behind the project, land rights. Timami accused the NLC of coming up with its own list of beneficiaries that has been kept secret. The IEA report has also led to the resignation of a top county official who voiced her opposition to the controversial project.
Na kuna ule mradi wenyewe unakuja kuletwa pale, utakuwa na faida gani na athari gani kwetu sisi watu wa Lamu? Mradi huu hauchagui rangi wala kabila wala dini. Ukija utaathiri kila mtu, na kama ni faida ni kwa kila mtu.
Fusion Capital recently launched the first D-rate in Kenya, looking to raise some 2.3 billion shillings for the development of Greenwood City, a mixed-use development in Meru County, Kenya. The selling period for the Fusion Real Estate Development initial public offer came to a close on Wednesday this week, having achieved a 38% subscription, which was 12% below the minimum required threshold. Accordingly, Fusion is looking to engage the Capital Markets Authority and the Nairobi Stock Securities Exchange on other future issues of rate securities. The development is strategically located in the heart of Meru County and will remain a key feature of the city for many decades to come. Meru County continues to prove itself a great investment hub, noting an urbanization rate of 11% and a population growth of some 15%. Fusion Capital is pursuing the county strategy, having now invested in Nairobi, Meru, Nakuru, Mombasa, Machakos, Kajiado, Murang'a and Kiambu counties, and intends to develop medium-sized projects in these areas, mainly mixed-use developments in the center of these towns. Cybersecurity experts have urged insurance and banking service companies in Kenya to enhance the pace of deployment of secure ICT practices in their organizations. According to ICT security company ESET East Africa, the recent influx of cases of cyber attacks and breaches in the local financial service sector is attributable to the slow pace of implementation of ICT security protocols.
You need a solution that covers you so much, but you need to think about the fact that I can't install and update the software onto your employees. those are the people that physically open the door to your network, and those are the people that require another solution.
You will see that cyber attacks is actually increasing, especially since we had fiber in the country. Access to systems and speeds are very quite fast. So basically, every organization is at risk of being attacked.
Following the government's revision of excise duty in the 2016 budget, the Association of Insurance Brokers of Kenya, AIBK, is claiming challenges regarding the capacity to collect it. The main reason being various reconciliation issues with insurance companies. AIBK Vice Chairman Anthony Mwangi says that the excise duty will have a severe impact on the insurance brokerage sector and plans to ensure the reconciliation processes go as planned.
We're also getting very good help, assistance, and from the regulatory authority who we have already met, and they are supportive of the idea, and we will be making members know how this progresses. But it's an important issue that should not be left on its own, otherwise it can also bring a lot of insurance company brokers down, considering that there has been a lot of issues before that were not addressed, a lot of reconciliations issues.
Well, that sweet music signals that we are now focused on the TICAD 6 conference here in Nairobi, and the city of Nairobi is preparing for the start of the Japan-led trade talks known as TICAD. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is already in the country and held talks with President Uhuru Kenyatta ahead of these talks. The two say the talks, the first of their kind to be held in Nairobi and in Africa, will deepen trade ties between Japan and Africa. The Japanese Prime Minister pledged further investment from his country and help in developing agriculture in this nation.
We will be welcoming many heads of state, thousands of delegates, for the very first TICAD to be held on African soil. With the very gracious help of Prime Minister Abe, TICAD has finally come home, and it is about time. In the year since its inception in 1993, TICAD has been a key forum for informed discussion of African development between Africa, Japan, as well as other partners. It has matured into a first-class multilateral forum, attracting leaders in business, industry, as well as government and civil society. At these discussions, a wide range of expertise and experience is represented, united under a single guiding principle of partnership. That is because development, as all the delegates will know, is not something that will happen to Africa. It is Africans themselves who will win the freedom and the prosperity that they deserve. The privilege of bringing TICAD home fell on Kenya, and we are honored and indeed humbled in accepting the invitation to host the forum. We saw ourselves as accepting it on behalf of Africa, and that is why we welcome so many African delegates who will join us in this great forum. We look forward to frank deliberation during the summit itself and to a new strengthening of the ties not just between Africa and Japan, but also between African nations themselves. For Africa is rising, ladies and gentlemen, but that rise will reach its full height only if we each lift the other.
Now, as delegates and heads of state continue jetting in for the TICAD conference, a number of key